Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Glad you made it. It's not a social production. We're doing it on Friday, October the 18th, 2024. Thank you for joining me. If it's your first time, buckle up, buckle down. Where can you find these videos? On Instagram. Follow me there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you'd like to watch the full-length videos, check out patreon.com/RobSatcher. If you'd like to fiscally, financially support the show. If you've been with me from the get-go, sending all the love right back to you, wherever you're tuning in from. If it's Canada, Wagwan, down south in the United States, further down south, Mexico, further down south than that, as per usual, South Americas will get to yous. Over there in Africa, over there in Europe, Asia, New Zealand, Australia, of course, let's not forget down under. Over there in Ireland, over there in Bangkok, over there in Espanol, over there in the Frances, in the Francophones, back here in Canada again, in the Quebecois, over there in Newfoundland, what you know about that shit? Wherever you are, I hope you're doing well. It is Friday. A lot to discuss, no particular direction as per usual. Or maybe we'll get to it. No direction at all. Or maybe it's one direction and one direction only. Or no direction at all. One erection. One large erection. One medium-sized, one small-sized erection. A few erections. We'll get to it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Lots to discuss, as I said, but let's just jump into it. Let's just get into it. Interesting things have been happening in and around the world, which I'd like to bring to your attention if it's already not been brought to your attention, but I'm sure it's already been brought to your attention because we're all like tuned in with everything and tuned out at the same time, which is nice. Right there down in the middle, tuned in but tuned out. Over there in Newfoundland, right here in Canada, there have been mysterious blobs that have been found on the beaches of Newfoundland. Just mysterious blobs of God knows what. People are wondering, they're just walking on the beaches in Newfoundland, my Newfies out there. And they're saying, what is this? What is this mysterious white-ish, creamy-ish blob that's landed on our beaches, just scattered all over the beach? Nobody knows what it is. Scientists are asking questions. Investigators are looking into the matter. Prime suspects. If you look at them, if you've seen these mysterious blobs on the beach, it might resemble like large jism, a large sperm, large amounts of sperm. That's what it might look like to some. Those who dabble know. Those who don't should acquaint themselves. Is it that sperm whale jizz? Well, I took it upon myself because every morning I get up and I go deep sea diving. I go into the depths of the ocean. The Atlantic is right there. And I jump in and I do like 10,000 laps. 10,000, easy breezy before I even get up. I'm sleeping. I just roll out of bed, hop into the Atlantic, say hello to the Atlanteans, and then, go down there with, Aquaman. Right there, Aquawoman, tits for days. I say hello, I do my laps. And that's basically, say hi to Poseidon, all that jazz. I do it all. I spearfish. I fish. I use a net to fish as well. I do all sorts of, I catch and release. I don't even catch sometimes, I just release. But that's the stuff that I did. And then I heard about the blobs, then I'm like, let's investigate this further. And I went and had a little chat with a couple of sperm whales. And I asked them, I ran into them as I was doing my laps. I'm like, hey there, fella, hey there. Big, giant, beautiful fella, and it squeaked, and it vibrated, and it chanted, and I translated it in my own head, because I can talk to sperm whale, specifically sperm whale, no other animals, but sperm whale, the frequencies, I can read them. And I said, what's going on with all the jizz and sperm on the East Coast over there in Newfoundland? Did you have something to do with it? Did you and your goons of sperm whale, did you have something to do with it? Because we don't know what it is. And by the way, why sperm whale? Why not jizz whale? I asked the sperm whale this question. Of course, it came back and said, I thought about it. We were discussing jizz whale for a little while, but we went with sperm whale. It's just got a better ring to it. I'm like, are you sure? Better than jizz whale? He's like, yeah, we asked the whole tribe of whales. And everybody voted sperm whale. I'm like, did you really think about it though? Jizz whale does sound better. What about jism whales? He's like, jism whale was close one as well, but no, we decided to go with sperm whale. I'm like, okay, if you don't know, there are some blobs that have landed on our East Coast, on our beautiful beaches here in Canada. all right? You don't go fucking around our beaches, all right? You don't go messing, you don't just go jizzing around. How would you like it if I come into your playground, aka the ocean, start jizzing in the water? It's like, do what you want to do. Do whatever you want to do, playa. Said that to me, and with his tiny, giant body, tiny arms, said, playa, tiny arms, giant body, go ahead, jizz in my water if I don't care. And that's why I'm like, hey, you don't care, eh? You don't care, eh? We'll see about this. So that's when I start stroking masterfully, of course, back and forth, 2 long minutes, 2 minute 45, easy breathe, minute and a half, under a minute of stroking, back and forth. All right, 30 seconds of stroking. All right, truth be told, there was no stroke. I came right before I had actually gotten myself into the water. So I was just already looking for an excuse to kind of release the jism off my body. So I jizzed all in the water. And that's what I did. And I probably contributed to all the blobs found on the eastern coast of Canada, right, Brant, Newfoundland. And you're wondering, what is it? You're still wondering if it's, is it some sort of new jellyfish? Is it some sort of residue from, like, is it plastics? Is it microplastics? Is it from a ship? Is there a plant that's doing some sort of leakage into our beautiful oceans that's ending up on our shores? What is it? And I gotta confess, it's your boy. It was me. It's my jizz. That landed on the Newfoundland beaches. So mystery solved. Do whatever you want with it. Is it safe to eat? It's, of course, muy safe. Extremely. Muy bueno, safe. Yes. You could put it in soups. You could use it if you're like, I like to get some crab juice. Forget the crab juice. Get that jizz from that I put in the water. And yeah, I do come a lot. You're like, it's a lot. It's covered the entire beach. I don't know what to tell you. I don't, it's, yeah. Do I come a lot? Yeah. Not like, I small doses, but frequently. And that's how it adds up. So if you're wondering, you're like, how am I going to crack this case? Case is cracked. It's my jizz. I'm not going to let a sperm whale come and take credit for this one. I was out there stroking, backstroke, front stroke, side stroke. I did it all. And yeah, because I had to make a point. I'm like, just because your name is sperm whale and you refuse to go with the better sounding jizz whale, and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna play fast and loose with my bodily fluids. Well, we'll see about that, fam, playa. And I did that. So yeah, to the scientific community, you're welcome. To tourists, you're welcome. To the residents of Newfoundland, again, mystery solved. Your boy did it. My jizz. All over I kind of surprised myself, to be honest with you. I didn't think I would be able to get that much out, but who knew? The magic of milking. It's, yep, all me, all of it, all over the beach. It's all me. You could, yeah, because a lot of people will like, you're like, oh, can I put it on my face? And people pay high dollar for that shit. People are like, oh, how do I get the wrinkles from my under the eyes to go? How do I get the bags from underneath my eyes to go away? Put a little bit of that. Once my jizz mixes with seawater, with oceanic waters, you put that combo on your face, you're fucking reverse aging that shit. Brian Johnson is trying to figure out how to put this in a lab and market it to the masses. I just give it away for free. You don't need to go out there and suck on your baby's umbilical cord to rejuvenate your youth. I say, use what's available to you. Nature is always there. You just gotta look around and be willing to experiment a little bit. And so it's there for the. I was feeling like, you know me. I'm a giver. So rub it all over your face if you like. Cook with it, of course. I'm not sure how long it'll be good for. I've never, there's no expiration date on it, but there's also you could freeze it, you could ferment it, you could cook with it, you could, bring it to someone as a gift. You could play, if you were like, oh, I can't wait till this winter comes around, I can throw some snowballs, but right now we still don't have any snow, not yet that I'm aware of. So you can grab these blobs, aka my jizz, and just chuck it at someone. Do it, it'll be fun for the entire crew. It'll just bring bonds closer together, and you'll know who's there with you through thick and thin, through the trenches, in the foxhole, and outside of foxhole too. all around the hole, all around the hole. So use it wisely. You're welcome. Mystery solved. My jizz. I did it. And yeah, sperm whales ain't got nothing on me, because that's just what it, when I, if I feel like I'm being pushed to the corner by a giant whale, a giant hog, I'm like, yeah, you might have a giant piece, but your hands, your arms are dumb, fella. And it try to say something using vibrations or frequencies, but I had already swum back to shore because I had to come back. I got a responsibility. I'm like one of the biggest podcasts out there. I can't just be swimming all day. So finished that off and came right back to work. Another mystery solved. Another riddle unriddled. Another enigma enigmaed. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as you may have heard, there's breaking news, many of breaking newses, and we'll go through all of them, as many of them as possible. I just heard, you might have heard too, Ebony musician from the Ebony band, Ebony music sensation from the Ebony musical group, Ebony musician Nick Jonas of the Jonas Brothers, the Jonas Brothers, an Ebony musical group based in Americas. Nick Jonas was just recently viewed during a concert running off stage, throwing up gang signs, and everybody's wondering why one of these beautiful Ebony brothers was running off from mid-performance. And there's only one logical explanation. After viewing the video for about 2-3 seconds, I knew exactly what it was that I was looking at. Clearly, Nick Jonas from the Ebony musical group Jonas Brothers was running off stage mid-performance because he wanted to catch an episode of Glad You Made It, which I don't blame him, of course. But then I say to myself, there's always whether you're a Jonas brother or whether you're just a regular, if you're just a regular brother, just brother to brother, if you're just, if we're just talking, brother to sister, brother to brother, my brothers and sisters, if we could just have a moment and just put your fists up in the air, brothers and sisters, if we could just unite around the fact that music brings people together, and there's always more time to watch Glad You Made It. You don't need to stop performing during your show. That is, and I get it. He's like, I gotta run. He threw up the gang signs. He's like, which is international sign for I gotta go watch a episode of Glad You Made It. Which if you see people running around in the past 4 years, there's only one logical explanation, because they want to sit down and watch Glad You Made It. Which I tell them, these things they're available for you. Don't need I do them live, of course. We don't stop shooting. We don't cut anything. They're minimal. There are no edits or anything. It's just it's. You can I upload twice a week, and you can catch it anytime. You don't have to if you're worried. But I get it. You know what? I'm not gonna stand in the way of somebody being going on a different path, doing things there. I'm not gonna clearly these brothers are successful, they're talented, they're beautiful. But if he or any of the other brothers wants to stop mid-show to go watch an episode, I'm not gonna tell him not to, but of course, I want to, but at the same rate, I do understand you have fans, you have lots of listeners, viewers, lots of fans, devoted fans who love your music. So please don't, sure, you could, the logical thing would have been to just shut down the entire musical performance and just use all the audio and sound system and the visuals and just start putting on the Glad You Made It episodes, either from start or just the episode you're watching right now you could just jump right. You could have just done that. But I get it. People find the program near and dear to their heart. They're like, I gotta catch this. I gotta catch this in my own privacy. I gotta and I've seen it. I see it outside. People are running all around, not because of health reasons. Early in the morning, I've seen people running, not because they are like, I gotta, get my heart rate up. I gotta get my heart rate down. I gotta run before I get an erection. I gotta run to get wet. No, it's not for any of those. For the past roughly 4 years, people have been running around, and it's for one reason only: sit down to watch Glad You. But I don't want you to, disrupt your busy days, sure, would it make me happy if you left your work to watch Glad? Of course it'd make me happy. What would make me happier is if you just interrupted just the whole working environment and just brought everybody in together, sat around, passed the joint, had some munchies, and just watched the program together. Bring it to because we're a large global syndicate family. Mi familia, mi familia is su familia. Su familia y mi familia. And that's just Spanish for family rules, fam. So that's what that's all about. But again, shout out to the brothers holding it down. That's the only logical explanation. Of course, I only saw this for like 2-3 seconds. I don't know any other reason as to why he would have been running off stage. But the internet will always speculate. People on the streets will always speculate. They'll say that he got a massive erection thinking about another Glad You Made It episode. He got a massive erection mid-show because people get hard for this show. I don't know what to tell you. And maybe that's another logical explanation, of course. He got hard mid-performance, thinking about Glad You Made It, ran off stage. Excuse me, gang signs. Got an erection. Other logical explanations, of course, could be that he shat himself. Could a brother shit his pants mid-performance? Which one of us has not mid-performance? Just a little bit, you know, in our heart of hearts. Which one of us hasn't? Maybe, you know. And it was who knows? Not saying this guy or that gal or whoever, but he could have easily shat his pants and needed to just be like, time out, gang signs, and use that as an excuse to go and really watch another episode of Glad You Made It. Did he shit himself? We will never know. The mysteries of life. These things will never be, you know, we'll never get to the bottom of it. But I just want to let you know that you don't need to stop mid-performance to go out there. It's always time, because these things, again, I do it live because I'm like live right now, but it takes a few hours for it to upload. But once it's up there on the internet, it's there forever. So you can finish your performance singing to the masses, giving what the fans want, but then go sit down in your hotel room with your family, with your friends, with the brothers, and sit down and watch a true, you know, black production right here. So, but those are just some explanations. Of course, there could be any other reason could have motivated a brother to run off stage, such as, I don't know, loud noises, but then they're in a musical group. They're an Ebony musical group, the Jonas Brothers, of course. So they're used to loud music, flashing lights, lasers. I doubt it, because they're always surrounded by flashing lights and lasers. I doubt it. That's a far reach if somebody's out there speculating that he may have ran off stage because of lasers. It's hard to believe because the evidence speaks for itself. It's clearly because he was wanting to go sit down and watch the episode by himself. So that's most people do enjoy it in the privacy of their own, you know, existence. But it's a group effort. Come together and watch the episodes. You don't need to, but yeah, you could speculate and say he was running off stage because somebody was maybe pointing a laser pointer in his, I don't know, all right? Simultaneously, I did see a bunch of other videos that recently it's been more and more, apparently it's been happening. I don't know, of course, how true this is. You know, they say that performances, singers sometimes have been getting a little bit of, you know, people throwing stuff on stage, people pointing lasers, throwing stuff, whether it be, you know, somebody apparently threw their dead mother's ashes at Pink. She had to stop mid-performance. That was something. So Taylor Swift was performing and somebody was throwing something. She had to stop and make a remark about these things. Are, of course, as we all know, these are all excuses to really bring attention to Glad You Made It. They just want to make, but it's, I get it. You don't have time to, like, it's what it is that if, you know, should performances be stopped because they want to sit down and watch another Glad You Made It episode? That's understandable, totally makes sense. Should it be for any other reason, like, again, laser pointers, objects being thrown at people while they're performing? We should equip our stars. We should equip our performers with stuff to throw back at the audience members who are, you know, pointing the lasers. Because I don't want them to, you know, first of all, if you're pointing, like you're ruining a show for everyone, you're being purely selfish. Just wanted to let you know, if you didn't know, now you know you're being selfish. But I should say, yeah, let's equip our performers with weapons, objects, potential sharp objects that they could chuck at the, the individual or individuals who are perpetuating this kind of behavior. If you're there pointing lasers, I say, my brother, my brother should be equipped with ninja stars and just flick a ninja star right at the laser pointer fellow, or like just have him just drop to the ground, start bleeding, so that they'll learn, and others too will learn, that you don't disrupt a performance mid, because it's just a lot. You're ruining the experience for everybody else. Acceptable items that could be thrown on stage. Of course, I don't speak for anybody other than myself. Suitable, preferable objects: panties, G-strings, granny panties, granny G-strings, tidy whities, thongs, extra mini thong, like Brazilian thongs, like really just maybe just loose strings that'll just separate the cheeks, just strings that separate your cheeks, but you've been like walking in them, and you've been like attending the concert or the show for like an hour, and you've really drenched the string with your vaginal fluids. Flick that on stage, no problem. These are acceptable, these are traditional items. A bra, a nice double, triple D bra, fling it on stage. Make sure you get your sweat in the bra, because it's nice to be able to pick up a bra and be like, yes, a real woman sweated with her nipples in this bra. These are suitable, appropriate objects that you could throw, but nothing, flowers, these are nice, nothing more than that though, all right? This isn't the 80s, this isn't something like honky tonk show where you just like, where there's the mesh covering the performer, where you get to throw beer bottles and cans and do all that. So we're not living in the past, man. It's the future, fella, lady. So again, appropriate object, or just like reach in your vag and just scoop a little bit of vaginal goop and just chuck it. I'll catch it personally with my mouth. These are, again, appropriate objects that performers would like to see on stage. Everything else, laser pointers, not acceptable, because we all know performers are inherently, deep down inside, really just cats. They are giant cats performing for you. They're felines at the end of the day. Inside every performer, and behind every successful performer, inside every successful performer, they say, is a living giant feline. And well, we know what cats do when faced with flashing lights. You gotta chase it. You gotta chase this, which is hella entertaining. Give me a flashing light and a laser, I'll fucking chase that thing up a tree all day, every day. You know what I'm talking about? That's a solid, healthy afternoon right there. Time well spent. But when you gotta perform for the masses, it's, duty calls. So quit messing around with these cats who are actually humans, but deep down inside, we know they're cats. Quit it, just quit it. And again, I provided you with a bunch of stuff that you could throw. Other stuff that we could provide for our performers to throw back at the audience members who are trying to just, a giant chair, a wrestling chair. Every performer should be equipped with 2-3 chairs that they could grab and just smash over a attendee who's being disrupted, just smash it over their neck. That should be on the menu. Ladders, wrestling ladders should be also equipped on the stage. I've seen this. Sometimes performers will be performing and there's like shadows, there's dark spots. You walk in, you fall through a hole. You should have ladders in that hole so you can not only climb up, but also put it on stage in case you need to drop the people's elbow on somebody's nipple. You feel me? Other stuff that you could just, how about a long rope so you can just wrangle a bunch of them if they just lasso a couple of these bitches if they're just being a little bit too rowdy. Make an example. Other items, of course, confetti is just good for everybody, just if everybody's like getting along, having a good time, a little bit of confetti. Other items that you could throw around, hot glue if somebody's just being disrupted, just throw hot glue on top of them and let's just make them, have a difficult time, a good evening, a wasted evening at least, so that they have to go home and like get it off in time, because who wants hot glue? No one. So quit disrupting the shows if that's what you're into. They should also be detained. There should be consequences. They should be taken to the backstage, where most people don't even talk about, should be filled with giant aquariums that are supplying man-eating sharks. And these hooligans should be dropped into the tank with these sharks, and they should be just eaten alive. And they should be broadcasted to the front stage for the other viewers and attendees to watch, so that they know what could happen if you throw items, or if you go out there flicking a laser or whatever. These are, of course, allegedly. We all know what the logical explanation as to why shows sometimes get interrupted. It's glad you made it is on everybody's had a little barely almost had a stroke. And glad you made it is on everybody's mind. I know everybody gets excited, including myself. I know, but these are just some of the things that I thought we should discuss. Also, this brings me to my next point of discussion, little next story, which is not particularly a happy one. It's not particularly a, but it is something that just happened. It's just all over the news, all over the place. As I was sitting down last night, I just saw it. It's One Direction, who One Direction, if you're not familiar with them, most people, you probably heard of them, even if you, they're big, they're giant, they're huge. They're like a British invasion band, like similar to the Beatles, but like younger, but newer. So similar, like British invasion, sort of like, so 5 dudes, if I'm not mistaken, 5 beautiful, talented, multi-talented singers, dancers, performers, and then they came in it's mid 2010s, I think, ish, around that time. They came up and they were doing really well, and they kicked ass, and they global sensations, you can call them, One Direction. And last night, unfortunately, I heard, like many of you might have heard all over the news, breaking, one of their members plummeted from a 3rd floor balcony and is no longer with us, which is tragic. That sucks. So rest in peace. Liam Payne, that was his name. Plummeted from a Argentinian hotel balcony, 3rd floor. I don't know what happened. What I would like to discuss with you, though, is why did it happen? How did it happen? Where did it happen? Who did it happen to? When did it yes. So when did it happen? Just like literally, I think yesterday. Less than 24 hours ago, less than 36 hours ago. It's crazy. Where did it happen? In Argentina, in Buenos Aires, home of Argentinian cuisine and Argentinian dancing. What was going on? I would assume, from what I've briefly seen, that Liam was maybe in Argentina in support of one of his other band members' concerts. If I'm not, maybe he had other reasons. I don't know why he was there. The band is no longer together. They're definitely not together anymore. They're definitely, if you were hoping for a reunion, because I think they took a hiatus for some time. They said, you know what, mate? We've been in one direction for some time. Why don't we go in separate directions for a little bit? A wee bit of different direction, maybe. They said that. And they went their separate ways. And then the rumors, is there going to be a comeback together, reunited as one again, in one direction? And that's not going to happen anymore. It might, but with like one less member. So it won't be fully, it'll be one less member. It still can happen. Not quite sure. But this is unfortunate. What I'd like to know is, why did a beautiful, talented, rich, young individual drop from the 3rd floor of a balcony in Buenos Aires, land of free tits? Why? Could it have been the, I'd like to just, first of all, I think this calls for Detective Rob Sadri to come and excuse me for a second. Detective Rob Sadri, and I'd like to shut down the premises. Argentina is now on lockdown. Detective Rob Sadri is on the case. Journalist Detective Rob Sadri. If you don't know now, you know. All right, so all of Argentina is on shutdown right now. Nobody's getting in, nobody's getting out. And what I'd like to know, first and foremost, is where was Lionel Messi? Where was this beautiful soccer sensation? Did he have anything to do with it? Was he? No? Fine then, good. He's not even in the country, is he? I think he's in the US playing for LA Galaxy at the time, if I'm not mistaken. So we know at least by the methods of deducing that Lionel Messi had nothing to do with this circumstance situation. There, one step closer to solving this case. Because now I'm wondering, is it what it is, or was there more to it? Because he fell off a balcony. Did he jump off a balcony? Did he fall off a balcony? Was he pushed off a balcony? What was he doing with a balcony? So, Detective Rob Sadri, I'd like to just, let's possible things that could have gone down. He might have been in his hotel room, being beautiful, talented, rich, and young, basically having the world in the palm of his hands or the crack of his ass, is where you'd have the world at if you're rich, young, talented, and beloved. You'd have the world in the crack of your ass. That's what we're all aiming for, to one day have the world between the crack of our ass or the palm of our whichever, you know? So what was one of the, maybe, because we did, in a few months ago, we did see Argentina did just get a new president, and that boy is wilding with his machete, not machete, but like chainsaw. Maybe he was a big fan of One Direction, and he came in the hotel lobby wielding a chainsaw. And he came up to Liam's suite and he said, I'm chopping down the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Music and Entertainment, Ministry of Dancing. And Liam may have seen this, and although he's interested in, of course, being an ambassador, at one point you become so large that you kind of become an ambassador, despite that you're multiple things at the same time now. You're not just a musical sensation, but now you are so maybe the president wanted to have a sit down with a global ambassador to kind of be like, we're gonna get rid of the middlemen in entertainment. And he kept on yanking on that chainsaw. Maybe that freaked Liam out, and maybe that has something to know. Good then. I see my methods of deducing are already starting to work. Excellent. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that unfortunately, sad as it is, this is one of those moments that should at least be used to remember the good times and learn that people are people at the end of the day. Apparently, because that's one of the eye-opening things, apparently being super beautiful, rich, talented, global sensationalism doesn't exclude you from mortality, which is a kick in the nuts. Because what are we all doing then, huh? The point is, there's many points. I'd like to, first of all, before we even get to the speculation and the more deducing, I'd like to say that I hope that this is in my fantasy world, in my when I'm not Detective Rob Sadri, I am a simple man. Even when I'm a detective, I'm still a simple man. I'm just a regular man, no diff. But there is a fantasy world in my head which likes to create a space for beautiful, talented, rich global sensationalists, especially if they've done music, because they've got a because I love music. Like, you know, they got a special place in my heart, and it's one of those tragedies that keeps on happening throughout history. It's happened to so many beautiful people out, talented. Michael Jackson, Prince, Elvis Presley, Kurt Cobain, many of these, you know, it's tragic. Different but same, different but same, you know, different variations, Tupac. You know, so in my mind, I like to hope, I like to reserve a space, a fantasy space that may also be very much real. I like to hope that every once in a while, certain people get to a certain space, and I like to believe that they take these beautiful individuals, they're like, you've done what we were, you know, your contract is up, you're finished with your services as an entertainer, now we're gonna ship you off to the dark side of the moon where you get to contribute to humanity from the dark side of the moon or somewhere else. I like to believe that Tupac is not dead. I like to believe that Elvis Presley is old, probably. I like to believe that MJ is maybe on the dark side of the moon. If not, I hope that he's wearing a burqa in the United Arab Emirates, pretending to be a lady where he can be left alone and do his thing. And I'd like to hope that Kurt Cobain is also maybe shaved his head and moved to Mexico and is now speaking Espanol. And yes, if you ever come across a fellow who's playing really great grunge music in Spanish, do not bother him and ask him, hey, you look a little bit like, because man, quit bringing attention to that dude. He's trying to, you know, live a low-key life away from the limelight, as they say. And I like to believe in my fantasy world that Liam too was part of this beautiful special group and is now making music on the dark side of the moon with the colony that we have on the dark side of the moon, is what I like to believe, hopefully. But that'll take a lot of prep work, and that'll take a lot of dedication, and you need to get people to keep secrets. You need to get people to work together and to have a secret program of secrecy and shuttles that run from the Earth to the moon, back and forth, and that may be one of the possibilities, that he had more important work to, despite the fact that his work was important as an entertainer, that he might be involved in other businesses which are also more important, like saving humanity from the moon. He could be doing that. Could we live with that fantasy? I'll say this. Or it could have been that my fantasy world does not exist. It could be that it is tragic. He did die, but why did he die? I think we could deduce that it has something to do with that. I believe I saw pictures of narcotics and a messy hotel room, and apparently a 911 phone call was made in Spanish. Hello, there is, yes, senor, there is loud noise coming from my room. The man seems to be in intoxication. Saint hell, nah. A click. And that was, and for those of you who don't speak Spanish, that was, the man seems to be rowdy and loud in his room and seems to be intoxicated by the sound of it, and he's smashing his TV or something. So after seeing everything, I like to, you know, we could say that one of the reasons that this happened is that there was a broken TV. We could deduce that maybe Liam was not a fan of TVs. I'll say that, and maybe the TV was not flat enough. And who could blame a fella, dude? I would lose my shit if you tell me there's gonna be a flat screen and it's a little thicky. You know what I'm talking about? I will just. So it could be that. It could be that Liam did not like balconies. It could have been that. He could have just been like, get away from me, balcony. Could have been that. Or maybe some might be speculating that he knew stuff that he shouldn't have known. And maybe, I don't know. Did he know stuff that he shouldn't have known? Was he involved in knowing things that he shouldn't have been involved in knowing? Could it have had something to do with the stuff that he knew? Let's check his phone and see who he was talking to. Who is he parlaying to? Who was he in contact with? And yes, it's easy to see the pictures of the drugs and drug paraphernalia and be like, another one, you know, another life lost to drugs. But yes, partially due to drugs. But the bigger picture is different countries have different rules for recreational drug use. So I don't know what Argentina, this brings us back to the larger picture. I hope globally we can get together and just, this is what happens when you, I don't know what kind of substances he was using, whether they were prescription or not, whether they were legal or illegal, whether it was pills or powders, mixture of drinks and all that. I don't know. I don't know these things. But I will say this, hopefully we could move past the criminalization of drugs so that people, because that's the thing, you don't know, these beautiful, rich, talented, multi-talented individuals get up and go places, whether they're performing or just viewing a show or just hanging around. They might want to indulge in a little bit of whatevs, a little bit of nose powder, a little bit of that, you know, dust, a little bit of that whatevs, a little bit of that hair on, whatever it is. I'm not condoning anything. I'm just saying, what did he use? How did he get it? Who brought it? Because these events, these stories always happen, and it just gets, it shrinks. It gets, you know, it goes down in like either, did he take his own life? Was it suicide? But if you kind of look from a bigger picture, it seems as though in some cases, you know, Matthew Perry was one of these other fellas that, you know, that goes down and did he take his own life? And the next thing you know, you hear stories, or maybe the doctors were overprescribing, or, you know, Michael Jackson, same thing, that the doctor, you know what I'm talking about? So there's like, was it, you know, so was it suicide or was it murder? And that's what Detective Rob Sadri is here to find out today in this episode of Glad You Made It. Was it suicide or was it murder? Murder. I will say this, I like to deduce further. I would say if it was illegal substances, how did he get them? Because, you know, not being Argentinian, where the hookups, you know what I mean? So you gotta you gotta have a doctor feel good. And, you know, where you reside is where you typically have reliable Dr. Feel Goods, plural, multiple. You get but when you go abroad, you might not know as many people as like you ask around, you're like, I know a guy who knows a guy who knows it, but at the end of the day, you're like, that's just broken telephone. Nobody knows that provider. So what did they provide him with? Was it the good shit, or was it shit laced with fentanyl and other stuff? Did our boy just want to go out there and have a good time, living his best life, you know, enjoying the fruits of his labor that he worked hard for during his youth? Was he just relaxing, enjoying a good time, and then and ended up getting a bad batch of drugs and mix them up, and no bueno? Did that happen? Or what? Because, you know, I don't know. Or was it, again, did the Argentinian president get in there and maybe just want to be like, we should produce a record together? Did he do that? Probably not. Once again, the methods of deducing at work. It is, of course, sad. It's tragic. The lessons learned from all of this is that beautiful, rich, talented, multinational artists, people of, you know, if you have the resources, which, you know, in this case they do, these people do, get yourself some better crew. Get yourself, like, rich, beautiful, talented, internationally beloved individuals should not be passing away at early ages in their life, whether it's their 30s, 40s, 50s. They should be living old, because if we're being honest, unexpected deaths should be only for the poors, if we're being totally, because that's when you at least that's when at least it makes sense. You're like, well, yeah, get your shit together. Of course, you're going down the one direction of, that makes sense. You're like, yes, well, that was but when you see it happen to people of, at least, people, and everybody's got their shit. It's not like there's perfect lives. There's, behind this, who knows what people go through. These are all, of course, everybody's human. Everybody's made of the same thing. People go through their own personal struggles and all that stuff. But it is a shame that when you do see some people with the resources to get themselves help, or at least, it's a shame. So, I would say from now on, moving forward, let's make sure that beautiful, talented, rich, affluent people are at least surrounded with good security, good, what do you call them? Where these, where the handlers? Where are the handlers? Why wasn't he with a handler? Or 2 or 3, get 2, 3 handlers. If you have the resources, you should constantly be, surrounding yourself with hot handlers. Like, there should be female handlers, hot female handlers who just handle shit. So you pay them good because you have that lead. Because if somebody doesn't have the resources, you're like, yeah, well, that makes sense because they didn't have their life together. Makes sense that happened. But when somebody's got the resources, you're like, why couldn't they just go party a little bit, have a good time, and have a couple of people handle shit and maybe break a TV? What happened to the day when we used to have rock stars? That used to be a thing. You used to have rock stars who go abroad or stay local and run amok through a hotel, and they just could. Later on, it turned into an interesting chapter in their book. Later on, that's what happened, and then they'd be able to reminisce and be like, "Man, we were wild boys and gals. Remember that time we ruined a hotel? We paid our money after, but we ruined a hotel." Why couldn't this happen to Liam? Why couldn't this just be another chapter in his long book that got cut short? Is what Detective Rob Sadger would like to know. So one, did he know stuff? Or was he just a victim of just maybe too much, too soon, but it's happened so many times though, that's the thing. So the moral of this story is you need better security, better handlers, better circle, a trusted circle of people you can have fun with. Or if you're like a little bit more like, if you're a little bit more introvert, just a smaller group, maybe, I don't know. There's no solution to this, is there? There's no solution. We can't prevent people from, of course. But the main thing we could all learn from this is that despite the fact that you might seemingly have it all from the outside, there's still stuff that goes on in people's personal lives, which is, maybe people don't get a glimpse of. And that should hopefully, of course, again, tragic, but hopefully we can learn from this and make sure it doesn't happen more. We shouldn't be losing people to, what could have just been a good afternoon, a good time. So I will say that, yes, we'll wait for the forensics to come in. The forensic evidence will speak for itself. Or was it the Illuminati? Who did it? Just putting it in. Did he get got by the numbers? That's all I'm gonna say, fam, because that's all I knows. Did he get got by the numbers? You know what I'm saying? But because you could say that in his name it says, if you take the L out of Liam, it says I am, followed by his last name, Payne. Could he have been telling us something all along? Liam, aka I am Payne. I'm in pain is what he was maybe trying to tell us. It was right there. Or maybe it's just a coincidence. And perhaps there will now be, of course, this, okay, tragic, it's horrible. Should the band want to reunite and go back out there and tour again as One Direction, and if the band should be looking for a, replacement, of course, I will, if I could be of assistance, I will be. If need be, I will step in there. G'day, mate. Aren't we all just One Direction once again? Here to rock and roll, nobody rocks out with their cocks out like uno direction. See, I could easily, totally, because I like to give back to the people, and I don't want to see people sad. I don't want to see fans out there of One Direction or any other fans out there to be thinking that this can't go on. It can totally go on. It can totally go on. Sure, I might not know the music. I might not know the songs. Sure, I might not be able to play the guitar. Sure, I might not have that, angelic voice of Liam. Sure, I might not have the same, but you're not looking for the same, because really no one can replace him. But you could replace, the idea of the fifth member. One Direction. I joined the band One Direction, mate. We are all from England once again, reunited to take on the world by the balls and show them what these British boys are made of. We are One Direction. I changed the name of the band, My Direction. I kick everybody out. This guy's direction, multiple directions. Everybody leaves, they're unhappy with what I did to the music. There's no direction. GPS. That's what I just changed the entire whole. I go into mumble rap, British mumble rap. This because I'm just providing options, of course. You don't have to make a quick decision, but the clock is also ticking, so Ladies and gentlemen, boys, the lessons should be learned here is that one, just don't mix. Mixing is never good. Don't mix your drugs. People, stick with the basics. Really, stick with the basics. Don't over med. Get some exercise. Get some, get out there. These are all things, I'm saying it. Everybody should be doing their own little whatever. Take care of yourselves out there. Whether you're, and it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't, that's one thing we've learned from this is that yes, no amount of money or quote unquote fame or whatever, affluent, these things, we're still human. All of us are still human. If you're, so this should hopefully be used to, again, remember the good times, and hopefully have others, maybe, again, it shouldn't be learned lessons, unfortunately, from a circumstance which just fucking, that's a kick in our nads, that's in our collective nads. Because it's tragic, it is tragic. As a young person, talented, rich, beautiful, rich, it's just young, rich. It's because that's the thing. That's everybody like, oh, you got the world and the literally, but unfortunately, due to whatever circumstances, he or she, whoever, because we've had Amy Winehouse, another one. Beautiful, talented, rich people. Again, leave the untimely deaths for the poors, where nobody will notice, and we can all get on with our lives without having to actually think about these things. Because let people dream, so that we can all just strive for things. But yes, you need to take care of yourself. That's just the lessons learned. Take care of yourselves. Mental health, I know, is one of those terms that gets thrown out every day now. It's become one of those, everything gets thrown out these days. But yes, genuinely, I do whatever you can to help yourselves. And there's so many ways, whether it's exercise, that's one of the best things. Exercise, eat well, don't mix your drugs. But I'm not one of those people that says, get rid of drugs. Clearly, it's so easy to just blame it on one thing. The drugs, get rid of the drugs. I don't think so, fam. I don't think so. Going to Argentina, you're telling me you're not going to get your hands on some of that pure South American cocaine. Lessons learned. And again, rest in peace, Liam. But again, he would have wanted us to have a laugh and live our lives to the fullest or something. I don't know. I never met the guy, of course, but it seems like a, good guy. Seemed like a good guy. That's, so yes. Ladies and gentlemen, let us skirt and move away from this subject that's been on everybody's mind for the past however many hours. Let us get to one of my other things that I'd like to just discuss with you. I just noticed that I found a new method of reading. There's, in terms of, because people do palm readings, people do, tea leaf readings. People do, you drink one of those tiny little Turkish, coffees. You flip the cup on its head, you wait for it to dry, and then the lady or gentleman who served you the cup of coffee will do a coffee reading. They call them coffee. I don't know what they call them, but they do that, I believe. But there's, so instead, but I said I need something that's a little bit less invasive, like a palm reading or again, tea leaf readings. These are too invasive for my taste, which is why I thought of introducing the all-new, brand new, improved ball sack scrotum slash labia readings, which is what I do. So if you are in need of a reading which is less invasive, again, not like the palm readings, which is all up in this bitch and get out of my space, fam. You know what I mean? Like, just too much. What do you want my drink for? You know what I mean? Let's just be a little bit, personal space. Can you respect it? Thank you. So I do the less invasive method. I do the scrotum sac readings and labia readings, and I could even do this without you even being present. I'll give you an example. If you've got a scrotum, I can tell you that the wrinkles on your scrotum, yes, I'm talking to you, you sexy son of a bitch. Wrinkles on your scrotum tell me that you have had a life full of ups and downs, full of times where you were going this way and then you went that way, full of challenges and full of good times. It tells me that there's a person in your life who you care for, deeply care for. Am I getting hotter, closer, hotter? Is this person somebody you may know? Closer, right? Hot on the nose, right there, right? This person is somebody you know and is in your life, but they have left at some point in your life as well. Like, it could have been, did they go out to maybe buy a pack of smokes? Maybe they're not not a smoker. Yeah, that's why I didn't bring it up. Good thing they don't smoke. We clearly know that they just went out to catch some fresh air. Sounds familiar? Exactly. I could go on and on. Labia readings, ladies. Let's just, I'm talking to you, of course, you with the meaty labias, the juicy labia. Is your life full of downs and ups? Are you thinking of a career change? Do I feel like maybe an expansion, a growth spurt coming along? Are you going through something a little bit? Does it seem like you're under a little bit of does it feel like you're being challenged a little bit? That's a growth spurt about to come your way. I see that there is a mole right above your clit, and that mole tells me that you will live a life filled with lots of memories. Good memories, some bad ones. I'm not gonna just, sprinkle, I'm not just gonna sugarcoat it for you. You'll have challenges, but you will get through them. And that is indicated by that one strand of hair which you forgot to shave off. But if we're being honest with ourselves, did you really forget? I know. I don't know how it came to me. It just, I wasn't out there practicing. I wasn't out there looking to give scrotum sac readings or labia readings, but it's one of those things, you don't question it, you just go with it. So if you like to have a scrotum slash labia reading, leave a comment. If you are pretending to be one of these fugazi scrotum sac readers or labia readers out there, I'd just like to know where you get the audacity to come up on my turf when you know full well that I established this shit and that the pure art of labia reading slash scrotum sac reading who is trying to take away, you trying to take away business from this guy? Competition? Well, maybe I like competition. Maybe I like a little bit of friendly competition. Maybe I like friendly competition to the point where I like to advise you to take a trip down south to the South Americas, and maybe you should indulge in some, frivolous partying of sorts, friend. And have a good time and come back so we can continue. And the point is, ladies and gentlemen, that this service is now available to everybody, globally speaking, of course. I'll say this, there's been a desire for people, there's been a voice calling from the depths of humanity, asking for some sort of new competition slash game where it involves sports, agility, the core, getting people to be more balanced. And people were asking us, what could we do to bring a little bit of friendly competition, a little bit of just like all around athleticism, mix it in with a little bit of sports entertainment. and give the people what they want. And that's when I came up with the idea of dildo wars, introducing dildo wars. If you are a fan of athletes, athleticism, sports, entertainment, and you like to see all sports really reduced down to its basic form and be provided to you so you can enjoy, wait no more, my friends. We are heading into 2025 and dildo wars is the new sport for everyone, where competitors will climb these giant pillars 30 feet up in the sky with no safety net below them to catch them. They will be equipped with dildos, 6-foot long dildos, and they'll be strapped to them like regular dildos are strapped to them, of course, but they'll be extra long, 6 feet long, or maybe even longer. And these two opponents will face each other from these pillars. And these pillars are not providing them with much space. Really, they could just have enough space so that they could place both their feet and maybe move around a little bit. The aim of the game, the aim of the competition is to take your cock, your dildo cock, your fake cock, and smack your opponent across the face or body and try to get them to lose balance. Whoever shall fall off the pillar is the loser. Whoever remains on the pillar is the clear winner. Whoever dares to climb the pillar of death and strap themselves with a dildo and engage in dildo wars, should they be able to go through the competition and come out on top, they will be given an extremely exuberant prize of fake Rolex watches and other items that we might have available for our winners. Of course, we're not going to tell you everything that we're going to give away because that will take away the element of surprise. Maybe there are no fake Rolex watches. Maybe there are no prizes whatsoever, except the one true prize that everybody's really competing for, and that is bragging rights. Could there be a prize more worthy of competing for? I dare think not. A large briefcase filled with cash, maybe $1 million, you say. I don't think so, mister. Everybody knows bragging rights is the most important prize you could compete for, and that's what we'll promise, even though we said we won't say a word because we like the element of surprise, but I can't hold it in anymore. The people wanted it and we're giving it to them. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let me bring your attention to the next item that I'd like to discuss with you. If we could all just catch our breath for a moment. Can we just a little bit, maybe a little bit? Non-stick shoes, fam, non-stick shoes. Everybody is out there chewing gum, of course, and every once in a while, or maybe chewing on a sandwich or a hoagie or a shawarma or, some Greek food in a plate, and you're walking and eating, and oopsie, there goes my gum, there goes my shawarma, there goes my gyro, there goes my gyro, there goes my spaghetti, there goes my sandwich on the ground, and you step on it. And the worst thing with shoes is that shoes come with whatever the sole of the shoe's made of. It's got a lot of grip to it. So your foot is now attached to the bottom of your feet, to the sole of your feet, to the bottom of your shoe. And you're like, oh man, my gum is on the bottom. I can't get it off because it's not easy release. Introducing the new easy release soles for shoes. This shoe, you'll be able to spit out your food right on the ground, step on it, easily remove the piece of gum, the sandwich, slice of pizza, whatever you're munching on. Should it fall on the ground and you step on it, don't waste another second thinking that, oh, there goes my food on the ground. I guess I've stepped on it now and I can't eat it because I'm having a difficult time removing it from the bottom of my shoes. Not with these easy release shoes, fam. I got you, all right? It's 2025. It's time for better things. Of course, should you be enjoying a piece of gum or piece of pepperoni that you picked up from the bottom of your feet and now you're wondering, where can I go to have a little bit of discussion, a little bit of just me time with the brosies, a little bit of me time with the gals, a little bit of me time with me, a little bit of whatevs. You want to sit down somewhere quiet, maybe a little bit loud, maybe a little bit of mixture of both, and have some food and laughter and enjoy some quality time and get a little bit of perspective on life? Well, how would you like to go to a sweatshop cafe, ladies and gentlemen? Sweatshop cafes is really for the individual who like to sit down in a dingy cafe, maybe a little bit of candlelight because we don't believe in actual lights, maybe good food, but also maybe just not so good. You know, maybe the food isn't that, maybe it's not about the food. Maybe it's about the fact that this cafe is serving you coffee, allowing you to sit down, enjoy your coffee, but it's also a sweatshop. Mixing of the both worlds, because everybody loves a good sweatshop where you get to sit down and watch children, you know, create little items like bags, clothing items, but you don't get to see that. I thought about that. I'm like, you don't get to see that. It sucks because you got to like travel to other, God knows where. It doesn't exist all over the world. It exists in some place. But I said, you know what? Everybody loves coffee. Everybody loves sweatshops. And who doesn't want to see some sweatshop workers while they're enjoying their coffees? Which is why I brought the best of both worlds together and mixed them, and I called it the Sweatshop Cafe. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'll be back here again next week. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. Be good out there to yourselves, and I'll try to do the same. And you know, we're in it together. Peace. Get out of here.